Ahsan, thank you for joining us at Pathway Spotlight.
No problem, sir. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. As you know, this section we get to know our people, particularly the key managers, particularly the key sort of members of staff within our organisation.
Sure.
And you're obviously one of those. Have been here for more than 5 years.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your role currently, Ahsan, and also in terms of your journey in terms of
Sure.
Pathway.
Yep. So as you said, I've been here for just over 5 years now. January 2012.
Yes.
I do recall it was a nice time. It was good weather at the time. I was happy to join the team. Obviously, it's progressed. It's progressed quite well since then. Obviously, in the 5 years that I've been here, it started out, if I remember correctly, as a project coordinator. Obviously, I progressed within that role, moved on more towards kind of the MIS aspect of things, obviously management information, and I've really. I can definitely say I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the time here so far, and hopefully moving forward as well.
What was your background before then, Ahsan? I mean, you say you joined January 2012, but a little bit about your background.
Okay, so before Pathway, I used to work for an organisation called BMG Research, and that was really, if I'm honest with you, it was my first job outside of uni.
Yeah.
So I'd completed uni back in 2010.
Yeah.
Got this job as a socio-economic researcher,
right.
Which was predominantly kind of going out to market, getting a few surveys, etc. done.
Yeah.
Bit of team leading in there, but it wasn't a career really. That's what was missing for me at the time. So obviously I looked to get employment, and that's where I joined the team.
So to January 2012, you started off in terms of coming in project. Looking at projects, leading on projects. Then you've sort of niched and sort of got yourself a little bit of a role, particularly with regard to data, ILT, IT, a little bit of sort of work around those sort of areas. So how has that come from project work to now, MIS and head of MIS and what we call ILT?
I think, to be honest with you, I've been very lucky in that sense. I think and I'm very thankful for this. Obviously, I think Pathways have actually managed to exploit my skills and my interest and really develop on the things that I would like to progress as an individual myself. So I do have a strong interest in IT. I quite geeky, slightly nerdy, do enjoy Excel, reporting, etc. So I think they've definitely had a look at where I would like to progress myself, and then push me towards that particular aspect, which has landed me.
I believe your degree was in accounting as well.
It was in accounting and business, so it was slightly off topic, but I've been able to put elements of that into the job role as well. So I've tried to be how can I best put it, a master of all trades.
Okay. So obviously, you've got a passion for technology. You've got you're our IT sort of specialist. You're
try to be.
You're a master of all the sort of applications and so forth. But as well as that, you're the number cruncher and the person who does all the analysis and all the sort of the projections and so forth. So in terms of those two sort of, you've got two sort of heads there. Is there any particular one that sort of appeals to you more, or how does that work for you?
I think the ILT is definitely something that I do enjoy. It's a case of looking at the new technologies that are out there and really developing them and embracing them. Obviously, because they've not been to market too long, it's difficult. So there is an element of judgment. Obviously, you need to have a look and see what's adaptable to the business and really what's the benefit to it as well. So it's not just a case of seeing what's out there. It's how's it going to help us. And although they are two heads, I would definitely say they're very, very closely intertwined, because it's almost one can lead on to the other, and they help one another as well. So that's actually helped me, because it allows me to as well as looking at the MIS aspect of it, thinking, okay, how can we better that by using these new technologies and bringing them into the system, and I really enjoyed implementing that into the business, because it shows. You can see that productivity increase, and you can see how people uptake it. And on the flip side of things, you can see how certain things don't work, and you can quite comfortably see the difference between practicality-wise. This is something that we can take on, and other times you may think there's a new piece of software or a new theory that you could try and run, and it's not actually pulled into the business for various reasons, but it's enjoying that bringing in the new elements of the business, really, which is really picked me up, I would guess.
I mean, I mentioned two hats on, but in addition to that, you also manage the office as well, Ahsan, which is again the team that you've got there, which are processing the sort of applications, processing all the data and so forth. So obviously you're heading the ILT strategy, you're heading the MIS, but also at the same time obviously looking after the team. So that's a lot of responsibility there. So obviously we're very grateful to have you on board.
Oh, thank you very much.
I want you to sort of a little bit pick on certain aspects of it and have a little bit more detailed conversation with you. I thought we'll start off with possibly project management, and you started off with project management with us. There's many organisations that look at projects and projects fail, and when you're looking at sort of ILT and particularly with the implementation, there's a lot of things that can go wrong.
Yes.
So I just want to talk to you a little bit about that. Share, for you to share your experiences in terms of, maybe one of the projects that you have looked at and how you've gone about implementing it, the sort of factors involved, and to share your thoughts with us in terms of something that you can share with the team.
So obviously, whenever you are looking to implement new softwares or whatever it may be, there's a huge element of research. And again, research you do have to be relatively mindful with, because it's a case of that research is obviously somebody else's research. And that's obviously their perspective on that particular issue. So with the research and the kind of background knowledge, if I was to implement something new, what I generally tend to do is kind of have a look around. The web is the biggest resource available to everybody.
So there's so much information out there.
Of course, exactly that. So I'd go out there, have a look, see what's available, have a look at the reviews. Reviews are the biggest and best way of kind of gaining that information, because it's a case of somebody's gone in there, they've trialed it for their purpose, as I said, and they're giving you a quick snapshot of what it is. You can spend hours and hours and hours researching it, but again, there becomes that element where, you know what, I've got to take it on. And the best thing from my personal knowledge is try it yourself, see how it goes, get that software installed wherever it may be, give it a go, see how it goes, trial it yourself. Then what you generally tend to do is use a pilot group. That's for me has probably worked best, because as you can understand, and I've learned this from the team as well, everybody's input is absolutely vital. Everyone has. You
got to get the buy-in as well.
Of course, exactly that. You got to get the buy-in, because if the people don't want to use whatever it is you're trying to introduce, that will never take off in effect. So obviously there's a research element, there's a pilot group element, and then really it's kind of, I think in this where other organisations or the reviews that I've read have kind of lacked is really that support. So it's not just a case of getting something out there, it's a case of getting it out there, but then being able to help those individuals utilise that piece of software or program, whatever it may be, to the fullest extent. Because to a certain extent, if somebody hasn't used something, they're not aware of what it's capable of. And what you may, and I have found this myself, which is actually quite good when you go to market, should we say? You'll have a lot of individuals come back to you and say, well, did you know this did that? And you say, no, I didn't actually. And you can explore that further and exploit it. So it's fun. It is fun. As much as
Fantastic. Obviously, you've talking specifically again. Pathway Direct is something that we as an organisation are very proud of. You've been on the leading front on that in terms of implementation. Just share with us in terms of what that is. The phases that we're looking at doing, and where your vision is in terms of moving Pathway Direct.
Sure. So Pathway Direct obviously is our internal Moodle website in effect. So it's our, I can't actually call it a communication base anymore, because it's so much bigger than that. Initially, the first scope. Are
we still calling it an intranet, or have we moved away from that now?
It was initially an intranet, but now due to the fact that we are having external parties join in, I would say it's an extranet now. It has developed to that level, I would say. So as I said, initially it was a case of communication. We'd like to share various information across the business, across the platform. But now what we're looking to do is expand that scope, have a look at learners, get them in terms of how else we can integrate that within our network. Also, we're going to get the employers on as well, which we're not too far away from now. From the pilot schemes that we had, the very, very positive feedback from the employers. They, in terms of the training world at the moment, they seem to be left out of the loop. Is the feedback that we're getting, and they're really glad and thankful that they're able to access information, but it's at their own level. So you'll have some employers which are really kind of positive. I want to get in there, I want to get as much information as I can, and you'll have others that kind of take a backward approach. Kind of.
So the information is there, but it's up to them in terms of what level they want to look at.
Exactly that, and that accessibility has been absolutely vital in terms of you can go in there and get your top level information. You can go in there and just have a quick snapshot. This is where we're at, and move forward. There's also information on there that isn't specific to a particular learner, should we say, but it's relevant information for an employer outside of the training network. So it's really keeping them up to date. So it's a case of, it's their, I wouldn't say it's their one-stop shop, but it's definitely a place where they can go to get vast amounts of information and as a minimum signposting to other organizations. We've also looking to develop Pathway Direct, and it's quite exciting now in terms of offline applications, which is not something that's been developed with Moodle before. But we're looking into that, which I'll keep you posted on that particular part of it.
But there's an app as well, isn't there? There's an app that's already live, I believe.
That's already live. That's developed. That's a case of literally going onto the. That's available on the iOS platforms as well as the Android as well. So it's across any tablet or device, and you can download that. And again, that's got a huge amount of resources and things on there for people to.
So at the moment, training providers, our supply chain are using it, and they're that's their information portal. And that's also their communication portal with us, and obviously we try and give value to them. Obviously, staff, we've been using it for a number of years now, and staff are very comfortable as a tool. Employers, you've got different phases. You said that you've got, and obviously they're looking at evolving and constantly developing. So again, congratulations on your Pathway Direct. Thank you for that. That's a great success story for yourself and us as Pathway. But talking a little bit about sort of technology and technology implementation, just share your views in terms of where you feel that fits in with an organisation of our size, with a SME organisation, obviously aspiring to move on technology and technology investment. What sort of tools are specifically talking about tools? What would you like to implement, and where do you feel we need to be going?
It's a bit difficult and stuff. The scope of that, it's huge. Technology in itself, it's absolutely imperative from my point of view. In this day and age, you can't survive without technology, is the bottom line of it. But taking on the new technologies, that's really what it's all about. That's really how you're going to progress. You don't want to really be falling behind the times in that sense.
Let me come in again, just to sort of break it down and try and get a little bit more, in terms of moving forward on this. Email as a tool. I mean, yourself that I'm not a big fan of email. Yes, I use it, and we've all sort of, we all have to use it as a necessity. But there are better communication devices, particularly internal communication devices. So a little bit of your thoughts in terms of what you've implemented, where your thoughts are. Again, a lot of it, this is about becoming leaner, more agile, more responsive. And for ourselves, obviously, we've decided as a business, with your sort of vision as well in terms of the technology aspect of it, for us to move away from that. So to share your thoughts in terms of how.
Definitely, I agree with that. So in terms of emails, I think what it is, there was once upon a time where all communication would be via email. And what you'll find is through that research, email will only work for certain sets of audiences. So as an example, for a learner, you would not find the best approach to contact the learner is via email. That would be through an app, say for example, WhatsApp. And obviously there is an educational equivalent, should we say, which is called WAM Edu. And that is, it's in effect a learner WhatsApp.
But it's all about safeguarding as well, rather than having information. So it's a safer way to communicate.
Exactly. So obviously within these learning environments and within these communication platforms, there is an element of safety and security, which is, again, you see in the news these days. There's a
big,
in terms of cybersecurity. So these apps allow us to be able to safeguard these learners in an enclosed environment, but it also allows them to communicate within their own particular qualifications or within their own sectors, and globally as well with other learners, just to say this is how experience is. So coming back to the tools, as I said, we've got various project management tools which you use now as well. So, for example, Saf, you may say to me, I want to have a quick update on your project which you're working on. And for me, the best way is no longer to email you and say, well, this is where we stand, this is a spreadsheet. It's really getting you involved onto that particular project where you can just have a quick dip in, have a look and see what's happening. And it's a case of having that informal conversation, should we say. So it's literally kind of instant messaging, which wouldn't work well from an email platform. So
any particular names? I mean, Asana is what we use.
Something we've discussed in the past as well, and we do use that currently on a few projects. There's a few others that I'm using as well, Instagram as well, which is quite good. So what that does is it allows you to put project into perspective, put timelines onto it, and it also has dependencies within there. So with these projects, obviously, it's not just a single person who's working on it. It allows that team collaboration, so it gets the team involved in it.
So
There's
key
a
factors
conversation.
and so forth.
Exactly
Yeah.
that. You can tag things in and also attach that to your Twitter feeds as well.
Yeah.
So it's really quite good.
Okay.
It's really quite good.
Okay. So that's email per se, but we, in terms of other tools, I mean spreadsheets. We've been using spreadsheets, and organisations have been using spreadsheets as well for many years. And obviously, then you've got Word and all the sort of Microsoft applications.
Yeah.
Again, moving forward on those, are those still our stable sort of diet of applications that we look at, or is there anything that we're sort of considering moving forward in terms of?
We are looking at a few more other applications, but obviously at this present moment in time, Word and Excel and Outlook, they are still your strongest key players. Yeah. But there's definitely apps that are out there that are being developed at the moment that we can kind of bring into play. I think you'll probably see that the strongest, in fact, probably switch the other way around, in terms of PowerPoint, that's definitely used less so now. Yeah. In terms of presentations and sharing that information, it's definitely moved forward in the whole digitalization scheme of things. One of the apps that we're looking at the moment is Microsoft Sway. That's very, very good. It's a very strong, powerful tool, but what you'll find is that's moved away from your offline Windows-based, and it's really more online, and it's a case of being able to share that information quickly and easily and distribute that. So it's one of many. It's one of many, to be honest. There are a few other apps that we can explore, definitely.
Okay. So, I mean, touching on cybersecurity, I mean, when you're talking about risks, I mean, cybersecurity is one aspect of it. Obviously, safeguarding and so forth, that's a whole different conversation. But in terms of, at this point in time, all these emails that we, all of us sort of tend to get, obviously you're responsible for our sort of IT security as well. What's there's a lot of talk out there in terms of people sort of hacking in and so forth. Just give us an update in terms of the sort of things that potentially the risks are to a business in terms of potentially losing data. What sort of precautions somebody can do, and what sort of things should they be looking at, and what, again, specifically for ourselves, what have we been doing?
Sure. In terms of cybersecurity, as you said, it's a vast subject. So you're talking from physical attacks, where somebody coming into your office and actually removing equipment, etc., as well as your cyber attacks, which are the bigger aspect of it at the moment. So there's various things various safeguards that you can put in place to stop these kind of attacks. And the one thing that you must be mindful of is these attacks and these softwares and these viruses, they change constantly. The programs themselves can actually adapt to your internal security. So what you've got to do is essentially make sure that your security is always up to date. You've always got to be ahead of the game. Now, what happens is you'll find is predominantly the security software that you have out there are reactive rather than proactive. So it's quite a battle there that you're having. So the main thing is to really ensure that your antivirus software is your number one kind of protection. So that's really needs to be installed in each and every single machine. That's your basics. But within there, if you're talking server aspect of it, then there's a whole higher level of security. So you can have hardware that you have right at the top of your network to actually stop any external attacks coming in. That obviously needs to be updated constantly. As well as that, there's a lot of what you'll find actually is a few people themselves aren't how can I put it, cyber savvy, should we say, is the terminology I like to use. So it's a case of an email may come in and they may open it up, which they shouldn't have done.
But they're quite deceiving though. They can be quite. So it's not the Nigerian sort of emails where it looks obviously the fact that this. They can be quite deceiving.
They're a lot more sophisticated now. So it is a case of they could quite easily come into your network. They could pick a few names and say, okay, this person tends to send emails to that person. And it may even be somebody you know. It's the way crime works. Obviously, it tends to be easier for somebody who's been inside, has a better understanding of the relationships within that organization, and they try to exploit that. So there are a few tricks and tips that we can give, which we do on our regular seminars in obviously Pathway. But
we're not saying give all the secrets out today.
Unfortunately, not. But they are available if you contact us. But there's definitely, it's a case of just becoming electronic savvy yourself. Really, that's the main thing. What you'll find is most IT departments have been clued up. They are aware of the issues that you can have, and they tend to deal with them quite well.
All right. Yes, and in terms of IT, I keep hearing people talk about the cloud and that sort of market, and the fact that the old way of having hardware and all this sort of stuff is long gone, and we need to move towards this cloud and cloud implementation and so forth. Just share with us your thoughts on that. I mean, obviously, there's each situation could be different, but just generally, just talk a little bit about your
Cloud
thoughts.
computing as a whole is very, very, very powerful. It's something that people have tended to shy away from at the moment because they don't quite understand it. In a nutshell, essentially what cloud is say, for example, you have your organization, you've got your server internally. Cloud computing effectively is a server which is based wherever it may be, in Google's offices or wherever it is, that is backed up multiple times. So what they can essentially do is offer you an SLA to say, we will store your data for you, and we will ensure that you will always have access to this data, provided obviously that you have access to the internet. So there's a risk element which is which effectively is quite good for businesses, where if you're aware of the fact that your data can never be lost, you're at an advantage there straight away, automatically. The other thing is cloud computing allows, with the security as well, people to access data from all over the world. Globalization happened years ago, but this is really where it's taking it to the next level now. So it allows you to access your work from wherever you're based. It gives you updated security, or live security, I should say. And that's it as a concept. But
in terms of investment and so forth, it seems like obviously for a small organization, rather than them, setting up and having a server, that they could easily, it's the speed as well, isn't it?
Definitely so. It's a lot quicker. So you don't actually have to have that hardware structure in your own office. So it's safer in that sense as well. It's definitely quicker. It's fully dependent on your internet connection, and in these days and this day and age, you've got fiber optics, so it's not too much of an issue. So it's definitely something. I mean, we have elements of cloud computing on our own server here as well. So it's definitely an advantage, and I think it's something that that organizations definitely should uptake. So.
In terms of actually applications and so forth, I mean, we talked about security, we've talked about some of the communication tools, but in terms of learning technology and tools for learning, obviously you've got a big input in terms of the assessors that we have and how we actually deliver the training. Just some thoughts in terms of the investment that we've made, some of the thoughts that we're looking at. Just share your sort of vision.
So obviously we've made heavy investments in terms of the portfolios and the MI system here at Pathway. And I think we've definitely seen the benefit of that. Learners, we've had a lot of good feedback from there, where what you'll find is the communication is a lot quicker. It's a lot easier for learners, and obviously learners generally have tended to taken on this technology quite easily in the stride, should we say. So they've really taken it on, and they've enjoyed it. They've said, this is a new way of learning for me. It's quicker, it's easier, it's almost easier for a learner to have that learning now, where if you look at the old-fashioned, they don't have the web books anymore, and they don't have to flick through these kind of things. It's all electronic, it's all there, it's easy to submit, and you get that feedback live as well. The quickest thing is the feedback that they've really picked up on. So the e-portfolios have been a big push for the learners, and that's obviously the SFA obviously changed their stance in terms of electronic signatures, which makes a big difference. Definitely. So that's really what's kind of been the turning point in the e-learning industry, I would say.
But also in terms of our initial assessments and so forth, obviously there's applications that we've invested in, other sort of learning tools and so forth as well. So there seems to be
definitely in terms of the apprenticeship framework, where you're talking about your functional skills and the need to develop these GCSE skills. The learners, I would say, have definitely increased their pass rate off the back of online diagnostics. Obviously, we use BKSB at the moment, which has been an award-winning piece of software. And it's definitely what it really allows you to do is drill down into where the learner gaps are and be able to build those things up. So rather than a paperwork assessment you've got to go through, you've got to mark it, you don't really have that understanding of, okay, these are where the weaknesses are for that particular learner. And what you'll find is the results are instantaneous. Obviously, so the learner does that diagnostic, the assessor is then made aware of this is what the issue is for this particular learner, and the learner is also made aware of it, so they may understand now, okay, percentages or whatever it may be, this is my weakness, and it really allows you to kind of build upon that and then adapt that within the framework and then really embed that into the qualification, and it really helps that learner. It's not just a tick box, it's not just a case of get my level 2, get my level 3, it's really how can it help this learner in his or her role, which is really good. Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of your job, particularly with regard to, we call management information systems, MIS, which is the data part of it. Tell us a little bit about, what you do as a result of that particular role, and how does that affect the business?
So from a top level, really, what I tend to do is kind of tie everything in. So it's a case of having a look at these relevant departments and having a look at how they join with one another and feed into one another, and really bringing that into a report. And that's really, it kind of gives you your top level of this is where we're at as an organisation. These are where we really need to be going, which is kind of the bigger focus really for us. So it's a case of not only this is where we're at, this is a case of what we need to do as well. So it's really driving the business forward, that systems and processes and the numbers really. And that's obviously when we have our SMT meetings and we pull this data through. It's kind of the focus.
Right. Okay. So it's sort of planning the future and where. So it's like a navigation type.
Exactly that.
Process.
So it's analysis of where we've been, and really it gives us that position of this is how we want to be moving forward, or these particular aspects we've really excelled on, and these particular aspects we may need a bit more focus on, or wherever it may be, and move those ones forward.
Okay. Ahsan, I mean, you've been here 5 years. I mean, it's been a journey, and obviously I've enjoyed working with yourself. Learned a lot from you. Obviously, you're just giving you general feedback. I've said this many times. You're an individual of character in terms of hard work that you put into the organisation, and I believe we did recognise you a number of times in terms of your commitment and so forth a little while back. But in terms of you as a manager, you give a lot to the people that you manage. As a team, we rely on you heavily in terms of all the, as I said, the navigation aspect of it, where the business is going. Have a look at this. This doesn't seem right, or this is going well, and so forth. So it's a sort of a sat nav internal navigation system, which again is absolutely critical with the pace of change. But more importantly, with ourselves as well, or as important ourselves with the pace of technology that's going on. We feel again, if we're want to be regarded as a lean and agile organization, particularly with the opportunities, we need somebody to actually direct us and have the vision to make sure the fact from a technology perspective, we use the right technology, not technology for the sake of technology, which again is a word that we both tend to use quite often. So I just wanted to thank you for all your support.
Not at all. Thank you very much.
Really appreciate you sort of contributing today as well. I just wanted to thank you for your time and your 5 years.
Thank you, Saf, for the opportunity. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope I'll continue to do so.
It's gonna be at least another 5 years, if not longer. But
thank you very much, Saf.
Thank you so much, Ahsan.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks.